Sarah adjusted her dress, her palms slick with sweat as she stood before the towering doors of the Henderson estate. The job listing was simple: an experienced babysitter needed for a 5-year-old boy named Leo. The pay was generous. And Sarah, with her degree in early childhood education and years of experience, felt she was the perfect candidate. She rang the bell, the chime echoing in the grand entryway. The door was opened by a woman, Mrs. Henderson, whose smile was as polished as the marble floors. Her eyes, however, did a quick, almost imperceptible scan of Sarah, lingering on her dark skin and braided hair. The warmth in her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "You must be Sarah," she said, her voice crisp. "Please, come in." Sarah stepped inside, her heart thumping a nervous rhythm against her ribs. The interview felt more like an interrogation. Mrs. Henderson questioned every detail of her resume, her tone laced with a skepticism Sarah had unfortunately grown accustomed to. Mr. Henderson, a stern-faced man in a tailored suit, barely looked up from his newspaper, offering only a curt nod. It was clear they had already made up their minds. "Thank you for your time, Sarah," Mrs. Henderson said, leading her back to the door. "We have several other candidates to consider. We'll be in touch." Sarah knew what that meant. It was the polite corporate way of saying no. Disappointment settled heavily in her chest, but she forced a smile. "Thank you for the opportunity," she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor she felt inside. As she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that her qualifications had been overshadowed by their prejudice. A week later, Sarah was at the local park watching the children play when a familiar pang of sadness hit her. She had been rejected from 3 other jobs since the Henderson interview. Was she not good enough? Just as the doubt began to creep in, a small boy with bright, curious eyes and a mop of blonde hair ran past her, chasing a red ball. It was Leo Henderson. She recognized him instantly from the photo on his father's desk. He was laughing, a pure, carefree sound that brought a smile to Sarah's face. He was being watched by a young, distracted-looking nanny who was engrossed in her phone. Leo, chasing his ball with single-minded determination, didn't notice he was getting dangerously close to the park's edge, where the path sloped steeply down towards a busy road. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The nanny was oblivious. Leo's ball bounced over the edge and rolled down the grassy incline. Without a second thought, Leo scrambled after it. Sarah's training kicked in. Her body moved before her mind could even process the danger. She sprinted across the grass, her own safety an afterthought. "Leo, stop," she yelled, but the wind carried her voice away. The nanny finally looked up, her face paling in horror as she saw Leo tumbling down the hill, heading directly into the path of oncoming traffic. She screamed, frozen in place. But Sarah didn't freeze. She launched herself down the slope, her feet slipping on the damp grass. She reached Leo just as a car screeched its tires, swerving to avoid him. With a surge of adrenaline, Sarah scooped the crying, terrified boy into her arms and rolled, using her own body to shield him from the impact as they came to a stop just inches from the curb. Her arms scraped against the rough pavement, but all she could focus on was the small, trembling body she held. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice soothing. "You're safe now. I've got you." By the time the frantic nanny and a small crowd had gathered, Sarah was calmly checking Leo for injuries. He was shaken and had a few scratches, but he was otherwise unharmed. Just then, a sleek black car pulled up, and Mrs. Henderson jumped out, her face a mask of terror.
"Leo,"
she cried, rushing towards them. She saw her son, safe in the arms of the woman she had dismissed just a week ago. The nanny stammered, trying to explain, but the scene spoke for itself. Mrs. Henderson looked from her son to Sarah, whose arm was now bleeding, her dress torn and grass-stained. For the first time, Mrs. Henderson's perfectly composed facade crumbled. Her eyes filled with a mixture of shame, gratitude, and awe. That evening, Sarah received a phone call. It was Mr. Henderson. His voice, once so cold and dismissive, was now heavy with emotion. "Sarah," he began, "we don't know how to thank you. You saved our son's life today." He paused. "We were wrong. It's terribly, unforgivably wrong. We judged you before we even knew you, and there's no excuse for that," he continued, explaining that they had fired the other nanny immediately. "The job is yours, Sarah," he said, his voice earnest. "If you'll still have it. We understand if you don't want to." but we would be honored if you would consider being Leo's babysitter. We need someone like you, someone with your courage, your kindness, and your character." Sarah listened, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. It would have been easy to say no, to hold on to the hurt they had caused. But then she thought of Leo's bright, innocent eyes. She thought about her passion for helping children grow and thrive. This wasn't just about the Hendersons. It was about Leo, and it was about proving to herself and to the world that character, not color, is what truly matters. Taking a deep breath, she made her decision. "Yes, Mr. Henderson," she said, her voice clear and strong. "I accept." The next day, when Sarah arrived at the Henderson estate, the grand oak doors were wide open. Mrs. Henderson greeted her not with a polished, distant smile, but with a genuine, tearful hug. "Thank you, Sarah," she whispered. "Thank you for everything, for saving Leo, and for giving us a second chance." From that day on, Sarah wasn't just the babysitter. She became a cherished part of the Henderson family. She taught Leo not just his ABCs, but also about compassion, bravery, and looking beyond the surface to see the good in people. And in turn, the Hendersons learned the most valuable lesson of all, that a person's worth is not defined by their appearance, but by the strength and kindness of their heart. Sarah's incredible act of courage didn't just save a child's life, it opened minds and changed hearts forever. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. We'll see you in the next video.